Welcome to English for All channel. How are you, my students here too? I am so happy to be with you today. Our session today is about the story, The Selfish Giant. This story is so interesting and you will be so interested in this story, and there is many things will happen in this story, and let's start to know who is the writer or who is the author or the person that wrote this story. Let's start together to know who wrote this story. Is called the author. So now let's know who is the author of this story. His name is Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, who was born in Dublin on October 16th, 1854. His father was a doctor and his mother was a writer. Oscar was a very good student. He was clever, studied hard, and he enjoyed writing. He likes to write many stories. He studied at Trinity College and Dublin, Oxford University in England. When he finished university, Oscar traveled, means went to London, Paris, and the USA. What is the USA? The abbreviation of United States of America. The United States of America. While he was in London, he met Constance Lloyd. They married and had two sons. Oscar worked as a teacher. He taught pupils and he also wrote reviews for newspapers. What's newspapers? It's many sheets are together and many people write some things in these sheets in the country and we read it every day. He later became the editor of magazine. What the meaning of the editor of is a person who is the principal of this magazine. In 1881, Oscar published a book of poems. What's poems? Poems means some lines ending with rhyming words. In 1888, he wrote a collection of fairy tales. What's fairy tales? Fairy means imaginary tales means stories, imaginary stories that's not fact, not real, not happen, called the Happy Prince and other tales. One of the stories in these collections. What's collections? Do you know the meaning of collection? Means group. Collection means group. The Selfish Giant. Oscar published his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, in 1891, and in 1892 he wrote his first play, Lady Windermere's Fan. The play was very successful and Oscar became quite rich. He wrote several other plays, including An Ideal Husband and The Importance of Being Earnest, and many short stories, including The Canterville Ghost. Oscar Wilde died on November 13th of 1900. People still perform and watch his plays today. Still now, we still watch and read his stories, and his stories are very popular, means very common that people know his stories. People remember him as a very clever, funny writer. This is the life of our author who wrote this story, The Selfish Giant. Now we want to know the plot of this story. The plot is group or series of events that happen, and we want to know this series, what happened at the beginning, what happened in the middle, what happened at the end. This is the plot of the story. Let's read. The Selfish Giant has got a beautiful garden. He had a beautiful garden. The children love to play there, but the giant is selfish. What the meaning of selfish? The title of our story means a very bad description of someone who want to take everything to himself, but he didn't want to give anyone anything. He wants to take everything. He doesn't want any one of these children to play in his garden. He builds a wall around it so the children can't play there inside the garden. Winter comes to the garden and stayed for a long time there inside the garden until one day, what happened? The children return again and bring spring with them. The giant is sorry for being so selfish. At the end of the story, he was very sorry that he was selfish, and he lets the children, means he allow to the children play in his garden every day. This is the plot. Now we want to know the characters of our story. The main character here is the selfish giant. It's the picture of the selfish giant. He's very scary. Look at his face. He's very scary. When you see them, you was very afraid of him. And unkind, the opposite of kind, not good at first of the story. He is selfish. He wants to take everything to himself. And he doesn't like sharing, means giving something to others. He doesn't like to sharing his garden to allow to the children to go to his garden with other people. The giant doesn't like children at the beginning of the story, but luckily he learns an important lesson and decided that he wanted the children to be his friends because he was staying in his garden alone without anyone. The giant becomes kind and generous in the end of the story, and all children love him. This is the first character. Let's see the second one. These are very beautiful, wonderful children. The children are cheerful, means lovely, and playful, like to play at the beginning of the story. But they become sad, very sad, when the giant stopped them from playing in his garden. They need a place to play. They can't find any place to play. But when they can't find one, they are very unhappy. So they are now so sad. And the third one is the little boy. This is the little boy. Is the giant's favorite child. The giants love this child at the end of the story. He is smaller than the other children, so he can't climb the trees in the giant's garden. The giants help the little boy and they became friends. The giants love the little boy because he is sweet, lovely, and gentle. Look at these pictures. There are many characters will be with us in the story, like all these. These are the nature, like 4 seasons of the year. This is spring and summer, autumn, north wind, a very strong wind come from the north. Winter, frost means ice or snow. Hail, hail means small balls of ice. These are characters well sharing us in the story. Let's start with chapter 1. The title is The Beautiful Garden. A long time ago, a giant lived in an old stone castle. An old stone castle. Castle means high building is made of stone. A pretty little village. A pretty means beautiful, little small village. The giant's garden was very beautiful, wonderful. It was a large garden, very big, with soft green grass, small grass. The color is green and it's so soft. There were beautiful flowers inside this, in the grass, like colorful stars. There were peach trees. Do you know the meaning of peach? It's a kind of fruit. All around the garden. In the spring, there were pretty, means beauty, little or beautiful, little small pink and white blossoms. What the meaning of blossoms? Blossoms are the flowers that appear on the tree before the fruit. So white blossomed on the trees. In the autumn there was delicious, lovely, juicy fruit on the trees for the giants to eat. Pretty, beautiful birds sat on the branches of the trees. Do you know the branch of the trees? A long sticks come out of the trees. That birds stand on it and sing songs. And the birds sang sweet songs, so the garden was always full of music. It was a wonderful place. The giant was very proud of his beautiful garden. What is the meaning of proud of? He was very happy of his beautiful garden. And he also was very selfish. What is the meaning of selfish? We said before, he wants to take everything to himself and didn't share anyone anything. He didn't want to share, like we said now, it with anyone. The children in the village wanted to play in the garden, but the giants didn't let them to go inside the garden and play. He shouted, he made a loud noise to them when he saw them draw near the garden. The children were scared of him or very afraid of him, so they stayed away. They go away of the garden. The giant didn't have any friends in the village, but he didn't care. He didn't pay attention for this. He say, I am selfish. I want everything in my garden for me. No one come here in my garden. He was very selfish. He had his beautiful garden and he didn't have to share it with anyone. One day the giant went to visit his friends, the Cornish Orge, who lived far away in another country. The giant was away for a very long time. When the children saw the giant was not at home, they were very happy. At last they could go inside the garden because the giants go away to his friend. So every afternoon on their way home from school, the children played in the beautiful garden. When they finish school, they go to the garden and play together. They ran the bust of run. They ran around on the soft green grass. They stopped to smell. They like to smell the beautiful flowers, and they sat under the fruit and they sat of the fruit trees to eat the delicious juicy fruit and listen to the birds singing their sweet song. They couldn't believe they had a beautiful place all to themselves, and they were very happy because they are listening to birds, they are playing, they smell the beautiful flowers, so they playing in a very beautiful place. This is the end of chapter 1. I hope that you understood this and you were so happy like me. I was so interested with you and I was very excited with this beautiful story, and I hope you good luck. See you soon and goodbye.